My name is Sheila. I go by the Crow River Stitcher here on YouTube. Same handle over on Instagram. And I have an Etsy shop called She's So Sassy. I sell project bags, which I will be having an upload in the next week or so. The new year, after all the hubbub of the holidays is done, I'm going to sit down, get some more project bags put up, and yeah, so you can check me out there. I'll link everything down below for where to find me. So this is a channel about cross stitching. That's what, if you clicked on this and you're like, what's this lady talking about? We talk about what we stitch, what we buy, what we want to buy, and then we throw, a lot of people throw in a little extra hobbies that we do, like either crocheting or sewing or any other crafty endeavor we take on. So welcome in, welcome back. I'm going to go over some plans for January. I do like to plan because I'm such a last minute girl that if I wait too last minute, then I'm like, oh, I totally missed out on this. I missed out on that. So I like to kind of think and plan, but they're not always etched in stone. I don't mind changing my plan. So that's what plans mean for me. And I have a bunch of fully finished objects. I have a finished object and then a few whips, lots of starts. And then we're going to talk about my SAL that starts January 4th. And then I will have a giveaway at the very end. So that is the itinerary. So let's go with the fully finished objects first. So this is from Etsy. It's a shop called Box and Fox, B-O-X and F-O-X. They have a bunch of fun cross-stitch designs. I bought this one last year and started it during Christmas last year. This was my oldest whip, so I wanted to get this done and displayed for Christmas this year, and I did. It is on the Joann Fabrics linen apparel that you can find in their apparel section. It's linen and viscose, which makes it super soft. It measures about a 40 count, maybe 41. I was trying to count out the holes, like do your little test where you stitch across the straight line, and in that inch you count the holes, and that's what your count is. And it's about a 40-ish, give or take 1 or 2, and it's their white, which is kind of a creamy, it's not a bright white. And finished this, it's all DMC. And I really struggled with, do I want to make this a pillow? Do I want to do a flat fold? Do I want to put it in a frame? And I decided pillow last minute. And even as I was doing the pillow, I'm like, oh, but I like it. I like the pillow. It's a big one. It's not like a cute little pillow that we have, but I like the 3D-ness of a pillow, and that you could just set it amongst all the other little displays you have. And it's lightweight, so it doesn't take, it takes up room in your tote for storage, but it's not heavy, depending on how you fill it. Like, this is the fiber fill because it's so big. I could have done the crushed walnuts that I usually do, but then it would have been a heavy take. But anyone that's trying to come in at Christmas time and rob you, you could use it as a weapon. Just take the heavy thing and just whip it at somebody. But because it's light, there's no weapon today. I used some fabric that I had in my stash. I thought this was perfect, the perfect pink and color, the green in there. And like, oh, could that have been any more perfect? And this design, it's got some Scandinavian feel to it, but it also, to me, I don't know if it's the font, but it has like a Art Deco feeling to, like this vintage Art Deco-y Christmas ornament. And this fabric has got like a Art Deco-y feel to it too, and it's just the Christmas stars. I don't know, it was perfect. I'm like, well, okay, that doesn't happen all the time with your stash. Like, sometimes you have to go out and buy things. But and then the rick rack I've had in my stash for probably 10 years. I used to make kids' clothes and embellish them. This is from Riley Blake. I don't know if they carry this anymore, but that's what I used. This pink was the perfect pink to go with the floss. So I just did some rickrack. I hot glued it along. I tried to like stitch it down, but stitching rickrack, it kind of bends it and makes it a little more wavy. And so for me, the gluing was fine. And that's that. That is my finish from my longest, oldest whip. Got that off the docket. Love it. Love the colors. And this will actually even stay up because it says Happy New Year. I might just keep it up for another week or two. Might stay up a little longer than the Christmas decorations. The next, excuse me, fully finished. This was a start, a finish, and a fully finish all in a few days. It's the Merry Notes from Shepherd's Bush. They have a whole series, the Notes series. There's maybe like a dozen of them. And this is my third one now. Love it. It's on the called for, which, I'll check the mocha linen, 32 count mocha linen. And I use the DMC. It does call for fancy floss, but they have a DMC conversion. And it's 1 floss over 2 fabric threads. Shepherd's Bush calls for that often with just the 1 floss. And it's got great coverage. Love the colors. And the button pack is from just another button company. They go with it. So you could just stitch it without the buttons, or you could buy the button packs with all the notes too. And it just adds a little something. This one has a really big snowman button. There's a little heart button and a star. These little guys up here, buttons, a little snowflake. So it just gives a little more 3-dimension to it, a little more pizzazz. Like this juju up the things. And all the notes, the series and the notes fit in 4x6 frames. So super easy to be able to fully finish, because 4x6 frames you can find anywhere in any color and any type of finish. They're just everywhere. So that makes it super easy where you don't have to find a custom frame. And I had this one on hand. It's fine. It's cute. It doesn't distract from, like, and it feels a little Christmassy with the baubles, but I think it would be cute, really cute in like a white distressed frame. It would pull out kind of the snowman, and there's some snowflakes in there that you could see. It doesn't show up as much on camera, but in person you see the snowflakes better. I have the ring light, so sometimes it blows things out. But that's the Merry Notes from Shepherd's Bush. The other one was the Shepherd's Bush called Thankful Notes. I had finished this one in November. I just hadn't put the buttons on or framed it yet. So it got a full finish. And this frame I found at Marshall's. It's just a wood frame. Pulls out the browns nicely. This is also on 32 count, 1 strand over 2. And the called for, which is antique ivory, and it's Zweigert. You know what I'm saying. Also buttons. There's, let's see, there's a cute little acorn button up there. Some little hearts. This is supposed to be like an apple in the basket and something in the mast, but oh, and the big pumpkin. They always have like one bigger one, and it's a pumpkin down there. I attach the buttons with clear thread, which it's slippery and it's a little harder to work with, but I like it because it doesn't distract from the buttons themselves. Like if you used a white floss, or then you'd have to find like a red floss to match. So I just use a clear thread to adhere it all. You could glue them if you wanted and make it easy, but we're stitchers, right? Let's stitch those buttons. All right, next, fully finished. It's my favorite of my pillows that I've done so far. It's from Shakespeare's Peddler, and it's called Most Wonderful. This is done on, I could have filled it up a little bit more. It's a little floppy. I might open up the bottom and stuff it a little bit more, but Most Wonderful, it's on 40 count vintage country mocha. And these little buttons come from Shakespeare's Peddler, her site. It's the Kitten Stitcher site. So you can pick those up. And yeah, it's got just cute little ornaments hanging. Looks great on the vintage country mocha. The chenille is from Lady Dots Creates in vintage. And it's such a pretty color. I love the vintage. It has a lot of like modeling, you know, like dark. It gets a little like darker and creamier and browner. So pretty. That's a really pretty, I like the vintage. And then the backing fabric is from my stash. I think it's from Riley Blake. It just has little snowflakes and green. It just goes really well with that. So I love this little pillow finish. Most Wonderful. Shakespeare's Peddler. Go get it. Go get yourself one. The next fully finished was a start, a finish, and a fully finish. It is from Just Another Button Company. So it comes with this one button. It's a house button. And it's just stitched Joy with a little star and like a little hanger. You know, it looks like a little present hanging from there. It's on 14 count white Aida, which is, I think, the called for to make the button fit. You wouldn't want to go anything smaller or else the button will just be like, hello button. You wouldn't see the joy. And this fabric is from Joann Fabrics this season, so that might still be around. It's kind of embossed and shiny. It's just really pretty. It's a really pretty fabric. And the trim has been in my stash for years, like 15 plus years. I used to scrapbook, and I would pick up these little adornment things at like Michael's or something. It's from EK Success. I don't know if they still make anything like this, but there just was like, they come in color families, and I had this, and it's been sitting there forever. And I used this one down here. It's just like a really thin, fuzzy, chenille type thing. And I wrapped it a couple times around because it's thinner. So I think I wrapped it like twice or 3 times around and just glued it and sandwiched it between. This hanger part is from Hobby Lobby. It's their Merchant 41, and it's just a white and gold baker's twine. So they sell it, I think, in red and white too. It's very Christmassy, but the gold's got some shimmer to it. And just glued that between the two things. Now, you know, I used like foam board, right? That we use a lot, but I think there must be different depths, thicknesses for the foam board. And this just felt a little bulky. Like I feel like I should have got some like thinner foam board for these ornaments, so they just don't seem as bulky. I mean, it's not bad, but it's still like, I feel like it's almost a 1/2 inch thick ornament, and it could have been thinner. So I'll have to look at my foam board and see what size it is, and maybe order something thinner for these type of finishing. So I don't know, what size do you guys usually use? It's a big learning curve. Like, you know, I've only been stitching for a year, so it's like learning to finish these things with different material. There's definitely a learning curve, and I've gotten better with my finishing, even, you know, finishing the little pillows, because I've made big pillows, but I don't stuff them. They're just like, you know, a zipper envelope, and then you put it in your like pillow form. So, I mean, I've been sewing for 30 plus years, but when you use a new technique, it's a whole new learning curve. And even if I only do a few pillows and then you have a break, it's like you kind of lose the your skill level just drops a little bit when you don't use something or do something a certain way. So the more you do it, the better you get. And so I'm learning that finishing these things, my finishing looks better even after a few times. So it's like, oh, so it'll be nice down the road, like in a year from now, I'll be a professional finisher. Okay, then I started and finished Spring Bouquet. It's a Mill Hill kit. I'm kind of obsessed with these little kits and the little beads lately. I started something that I haven't finished, but I'll show you, and then it got me started. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want them all. So I had this in my stash, and even though he's not Christmassy, I was just in the mood to whip out a little beaded guy. And he's called Papa Rooster. I think I finished this in like a day and a half, one day. It would have been like one day when I screwed up, because someone in my comments, they said the Mill Hill kits are diabolical, and they are diabolical. The floss, like the oranges, they had a red orange, a dark orange, a medium orange, and light orange, and trying to figure out the floss because it doesn't come labeled. You have to work it out yourself, and some of the shades are so similar, and I thought I did it wrong, so I put in like all this orange right there, and I beaded it because I was just excited to do beads. I hadn't finished all the floss, and then I'm like, wait, it's a dark orange, and I think I did like medium orange, and then I ripped it all out, and then I started doing it in the other orange, and I'm like, no, this is the dark orange. And so I had done it right the first time and ripped it all out. Like, you definitely need to sit down with the Mill Hills, go over the beads, go over, like, check, like, when you're, like a carpenter says, measure twice, cut once, or when you're quilting, measure twice, cut once. Mill Hill, look at all the colors twice before you start. So that's my little tip for these guys. It's comes as a magnet, or I mean, it comes to finish as a magnet. This has a magnet, so I just put some fleece on the back, glued some magnet with the E6000, I think it is. It's like heavy duty, dries quickly. So this will go on my little magnet board that my friend Leah bought me. She bought me some needle minders and a magnet board, so this will sit next to some of my needle minders as I get a big collection. And I want to do quite a few more of these. The next one on my list is, I don't have it, but it's the a little mush. I think it's too much, or the mushroom house or something from the Mill Hill. So cute. So that's been on my wish list on 123 Stitch. All right, another fully finish was, it's from, I have the thing, Waxy Moon Designs Bittersweet Trio, and I did the squirrel and the pumpkin one. This was finished in November, but I just hadn't fully finished it. Stuffed it with the walnut shells. This one's stuffed a lot better. Like, it's not flimsy at all. Much easier to stuff this way. A long pillow, it's hard because you're trying to like get all the stuffing or walnut shells off to the side. So you're like trying to, yeah, it's a lot harder on a long pillow. It's much easier on these short little pillows. Because I do from either the top or the bottom, depending. I leave just a little hole and had the little funnel and just keep filling till, you know, really tight. The back fabric is from Sandy Gervais. It's one of her lines that was in my stash. Little acorns. And then I did my infamous foundation chain crochet as a trim. So many of you have seen me do it before, but for your newbies, oh, the thing had dropped on the floor earlier. You just grab some yarn that's from your stash if you have it. If not, you go out and buy some yarn. And this is a number 4 worsted weight, and I use a really small hook. This is a 2.75 millimeter hook. So I do it really small hook and really tight foundation chain. All the things you're not supposed to do when you're starting, like, you know, a project. But so, you know, you just make a little loop and you put it on, and I just like go really tight. That first one is always hello. I mean, it doesn't have to be super tight, but a really tight tension, and you just, you know, pull it through and do your chain like you do with when you start any project for crocheting. It's always your foundation chain. And usually when you're crocheting, you want to leave it loose so you can work back in the hole. Well, I'm not working back in the hole, so it just makes a nice tight little, like, interesting, you know, trim. So that's all I do, and just work it long enough to work around your pillow or whatever you're doing, and it's just a nice tight little chain. And you could, like, for the smaller pillow, I will just hold one strand of yarn and do it. Like some of the bigger pillows, I've held 2 together, so it's a little thicker and chunkier. Depending, you know, you just want to keep like the ratio good, like a small pillow, small trim, big pillow, bigger trim. I mean, you don't have to follow it that way, but if you put too small of a trim on a big pillow, it just, the pillow engulfs it. It's kind of like, you know, if you have a big, huge wall and you put a little, like, 8x10 picture up there, it's just not going to have the same impact as a big, huge, you know, photo on your wall. So, yeah. This, I did in DMC, and it's the call for, which is 28 count, double check it, natural brown linen is what it's called for. And I use the DMC. It does call for fancy floss, and I definitely, like I said before, I should have done fancy floss for the pumpkin and the squirrel to give a little more dimension, because they're just a little flat. They could have used some fancy floss with more variegation, but they're still cute. But because they're so big and the focal point of it, I think the variegation would have totally been a little more pleasant to the eye. So like the fox, when I do the fox, I'll definitely get the fancy floss to have more variegation there. And the pumpkin, probably not, because it looks like 2 different colors there. The crow, probably not, because he's got a wing there. But yeah, the squirrel just was one color, so other than his belly, and it would have been nicer. But he's done. He's cute. All ready for next fall. All right, one last fully finished, and this is the December from Prairie Schooler. I do all the months. I've been doing all the months and will continue. I have 5 months done. I think 5 months. Yes, 5 months done. And every month when I finish, I start the new one, or if I'm not finished, I'll start the next month, you know, in the month we're in, to keep up. So Prairie Schooler, this calendar box is from Paisleys and Polka Dots. They go in and out of stock often, but if she doesn't have them in stock, just stalk her website and they get them in. Or I don't know if you call or they notify you or whatever. Somebody I mentioned that I've been looking, and one of my viewers on Instagram messaged me and was like, oh, they're back in. So I went and grabbed one. Let me do it this way. So I'll just take it out. They are magnetized. Is that the word, magnetized? They're magnetic. They come, you can buy kind of a block in there to pop it out, or else, you know, it's recessed way back. But I just had my husband cut a 2x4 and he stapled it. And then I added 2 magnets, and then the back of these get magnets. And how I do the magnets is, so these are adhered all the time. And then the magnets from there, I just put a magnet on each there, and then I put a drop of glue on top, and then I just lightly put the design and center it really good. And then I just, you know, let it sit there, you know, press it down and let it sit overnight, a few hours. I use the E6000, that's super strong. And then you know, it's good. Because to try to like measure between there and measure on here and put them on and then, you know, see if it's, you know, matches, it's just too hard. So that's how I do it. I just glue the magnets down and then set this on top. And then, yeah, they just sit there perfect. And I laced this one. I'm getting much better. In the beginning, I glued them, and now I'm lacing. And the back, so I put the magnets, they're underneath here, and then I just put a backing fabric to kind of cover up the lacing and the magnets so it looks clean. And I just kind of, you know, top stitch around and then fabric glue it down. So that's all I do. It doesn't need to be sandwiched or anything. You don't see the back at all. I mean, you wouldn't have to even make it, you know, put a cover on at the back, but I just like to hide any of the stuff back there. Like, it just feels better in my brain. It's kind of like when you clean under your bed, you don't see it, but knowing that it's clean under your bed and no dust bunnies, it's just, you sleep better at night. All right, so there's a close-up of it. This by far has been my favorite one to stitch of all the months. I just love the scene. I love the little guy carrying his Christmas tree and the doggy pulling his sled of wood and the snow and the houses and the trees and the chimney, the cardinal. Yeah, everything about this one I adore. Love this one. Even the designs down there, the snowflakes and the brown. So if you want to do all the months in this calendar box, it needs to be done on 40 count. You maybe could get away with 36 count if you took off that bottom row, because there is room on the sides, so it would make this, you know, fill in a little bit there. And then if you took that off, I would think that the 36 count could work, but you would have to do the math and check out for sure, because this opening is like 5 by 7-ish, somewhere in there, you know, give or take a few millimeters, or, you know, it's not perfectly 5 by 7. So you would have to do the math before, but for sure a 40 count fits in there up and down. And then there's just room on the side, which does not bother me at all. It doesn't need to fill in perfectly. And so I have all the months, so let's just go through them of what I've done as a recap. So the very first one I did was January. I did it last year. I think I started it in January last year and finished it. And I was like, I did it on 40 count. And it was before I even knew about the calendar box. I just like working on 40 count, and I didn't know how I was going to finish it. And then I saw somebody on YouTube that had the calendar box. I was like, oh, I wonder if that would fit. So I ordered it, and lo and behold, it fit in there. So it was just a dumb luck thing. And then I'm like, well, I want to do all the months now, because I didn't know if I was going to do all the months, because I didn't know how I was going to finish it. And then when I'm like, oh, I have a calendar box, so every month I can have it. And it was one of those happy accidents. So yeah, so I've started the January a long time ago. And this is when I just glued the backs, you know, this feels thinner. I wonder if it was different. I just glued it all down and finished that way, and then just put brown. I should have even used like brown thread, but I didn't care. And then glued that down, and the magnets are there. So that's January. And then from there, I picked up, once I knew the box fit and everything, that was around August, I figured that out, I think. And so I started the September one. And he's a little hunter. What does it say? Warm September brings the fruit, sportsmen then begin to shoot. And I just finished this. This one I also glued and just finished it in, I think, the same brown as January. No, they're different browns. Just like a brown. And then the next one was October. I started that. And this one says, fresh October brings the pheasants, then to gather nuts is pleasant. It's got cute little pheasants down there, the crows, pumpkins. This one is really cute too. Pheasant up there. And I finished this with just like fall leaf fabric. Always just pulling from stash. And then the next one was November, which I had finished, but this is a fully finished now. But dull November brings the blast, then the leaves go whirling past. This is cute. It's got like alphabet in the grass and the pretty leaves. And I mean, they all are fun. And this one, I think I laced. So 2 of them are laced and 3 of them I glued. So I do like the lacing. And then this is just a Sandy Gervais fabric that I had. So yeah, now I will be set for, I have January done, so I will get started on the February one, and I'll probably get that started in January earlier to stay up on it, you know. No time like the present. And I pulled out, I had bought this summer. It's Lolly Claus from Satsuma Street, and she is done. Look at her. You can see the sequins, the sparkles, the beads. This renewed my love for these little kits, these little perforated paper beaded kits. And the Satsuma Street is so easy to read. Her chart's big, it's in color. I didn't have any problems with the floss, like the colors, like you could tell, easy. But the most easy was her chart was a breeze to read. And like, I want every Satsuma Street bead kit out there now. The next ones for sure, it's in my cart right now. There's 3 of them out there. It's the 12 Days of Christmas, the birds. So she's got like the partridge and calling bird. She's putting out one every year, and she's got 3 out there, and all 3 of them are sitting in my cart ready to hit send because, oh my gosh, love them. And then the snow angel, she was in my cart too, and I'm like, and then I had a few other things like, Sheila, you can't spend all that money right after Christmas. Knock it off. So I had to, I'm going to wait on the snow angel, but for sure those 12 Days of Christmas are coming because I am obsessed with her kits. Way to go, Jody Rice. Love them. So I will just finish her off as a little ornament, put some felt, cut her out and put some felt on. You know, like I use like scissors to get the majority out, and then I take a razor blade on my cutting mat and then cut with the razor blade to get, you know, close and nice angles, because trying to get in there with your scissors is a little hard. And so the razor blade works really good on cutting this perforated paper. So a little tip, I don't know if you know, but now you know. So I wanted to start this. I don't even have it in the plastic, but it is shiny. It is from Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread. It's called Cup of Christmas Cheer, and it is like a vintage looking Santa cup. which I have them in my Christmas decor. I love vintage Santa cups, or any Santa cups to display. So I am doing this on, get my little board out. This fabric was gifted to me by a viewer. It is 20 count Aida Hazelwood from Fiber on a Whim. And I love working on 20 count Aida. Love it. Definitely, this is the very first time I've ever worked on 20 count, and I want more of it. It's sad that 1-2-3 Stitch doesn't sell 20 count. They go 18 count. So I'm not sure. I saw some on Etsy, but if you guys have the deets for where to get good 20 count Aida, let me know and I will order some. But yeah, I love it. It gives the look more of, you know, linen with a smaller count versus like, you know, 14 count Aida. It has a different look. And there's a place for all the fabrics out there, depending on what you're finishing and how you're finishing. But I do like smaller things, and I love linen. But man, yeah, 20 count Aida, a breeze. It's soft, and the holes are so easy to see compared to, like, you know, 40 or 46 count linen. It's a little bit more of a struggle, you know, because the weave's different, and this is just so easy. So Santa cup is started. Very cute. I'm using just the DMC. There's a pink house that goes here that I was thinking about the fancy floss, but it's so small. Like, I'll just probably do DMC. But there wasn't a conversion to that floss. Was it Schneckly or something? It didn't have a color conversion. And I looked it up online, and it didn't have a match. So I'll just have to pull like a pink that I like. I might even, that might be kind of a bigger rickrack. I don't know. I might pull like this type of pink and be able to finish it in the rickrack. I'm not sure yet. Something. I'll figure it out. All right. So he probably will just go in one of my project bags for Christmas. And I don't know, probably won't be finished now that Christmas is winding down, and I've got all these plans for January. And it's like, I am like a seasonal stitcher, and when the season's done, I've lost that spark for it. But not always. Sometimes I'm like, oh, that was fun, I want to pull that out again. So another start is, I started this on the 4th day of Christmas, which was just the other day. Was it Saturday or Sunday? Something like that. I just started this basically on the 4th day of Christmas. My goal is to do all the trees. I'm in no hurry. You know, a year, 2 years down the road, you know, I'll be happy. My main goal that I really want to work on are all the Prairie Schooler months. So that's kind of like my monthly, I have to get those done in my mind because I want to have them, where this will maybe take front seat after all those are done. So it's like you can only have one big, huge like series going at a time to be able to get them done. I mean, you could start as many as you want, but then it stretches out the time of getting it done. And so this will be, I'll kick into gear more after all my Prairie Schoolers are done. But man, I love the sampler of that too, with all the birds and everything. Maybe when I'm all said and done, I go back and do some of the samplers too. Like, that's how much I love that one. And I'm doing this on 36 count. It's the call for is 36, so it fits in the, like, the makes the tree like work. I mean, you could make smaller trees. No, you could make smaller trees, but I'm doing the 36 count. Fiber on a Whim, cream and sugar. It's not called for, but it's like just a simple, easy, it goes well. It's just light colored. And that is where I'm at. So I think I spent 2 days on it. So yeah, it must have been Friday or Saturday. Oh yeah, Saturday, and then I did a little bit on yesterday of this birdie. Colors are great. I'm not coming across as great. Can you see them? And then just the bird and her, yeah, it's just adorable. The little music notes, so fun. This one I will finish. I won't put this one away till next year. I'll get this done. There's not a whole lot. The bird is done, some leaves, some wording. Yeah, it won't be that much. So I want to kind of keep this one out for the year. And then I started another Christmas one. It is called Christmas House, and this is also a series 1 through 9. I might end up doing the whole series. I'm not doing it on one big sheet, which I thought about that, but then I'm like, oh, maybe I won't do all of them. Maybe I'll do some of them. But if I do all of them, they'll all be finished as pillows. So yeah, but I just love the Christmas House one, and I wanted to start it for Christmas this year. It's from Pansy Patch Quilts and Stitchery. And I'm doing this on 40 count. It's Picture This Plus Truffle. And it looks just, this truffle, I love truffle. This is also what I'm doing my birthday start on, my big huge sampler on truffle. And I had bought this to test. I just bought a small scrap, not a scrap, but the smallest one you could get off 1 2 3 stitch to see if I liked this color, and then I did, and so I bought a big one for my sampler, and so I had this one, and I made a mistake. I was just cruising along on the stitching, and I didn't realize it was a circle and then a heart, and I just thought it was all circles. And so really this Christmas house is supposed to be red, green, red, green, red, green. I did it all in red. I'm going to leave it until the very end and see how it looks overall, and it might just stay all red, or if I feel like it's not enough pizzazz, then I'll take out every other letter and put the green in. But for now, I'm just wait till last minute. It might just be fine. That one is fun. I think I spent one night on this, one long night. I mean, my sleep schedule has been I'm going to bed at like 1 a.m., staying up late and staying up with the hubby, and we've been watching Christmas movies. And so, yeah, I just will sit and half watch a movie and stitch. And then he's falling asleep in a chair where I'm just like, zoned out, stitching, eyes getting bugged out, not wanting to put stuff down, stay up all night. And so last whip is Heartstring Samplery, Never Let You Go. This was my anniversary start, and I have barely worked on this. This started in June, and I'm like, oh, you need to pull this out, because I do want to get this done before June, because I would want to start another anniversary start, but I'm not going to be able to do that if I have one going already. So this is on 40 count Lakeside Linen in Meadow Rue. Gorgeous, gorgeous fabric. Love the color, love the model. Yeah, very beautiful. I know it's hard to come by, so, which is a bummer. Wish it was as accessible as Vintage Country Mocha. So I just kind of worked down the side and started on the big house, and super excited about the house. I'm doing it all in DMC. It calls for fancy floss. I did get some fancy floss for the grass. I think it's endive that I picked up. But the house, the color in DMC just seemed kind of pinky. Oh, it's this color right there is what the color is supposed to be for the house. And it's pretty, but on here it just seems a little more like a brick red house, and we live in a brick red house, and so I think I want to deepen it a little bit more. the called for is pomegranate, which I don't know if it's pomegranate. To me sounds more like a pinky purple, but I don't know what it looks like in person. But if you guys have pomegranate, is it more of a pinky purplish plummy color versus a red brick color? So I'm gonna have to figure that out. I have used brick on hand. That might work. I'd have to maybe pull out that flower and put used brick there, because they're supposed to be the same, you know. But yeah. So I haven't started the house because I just don't know what color. I want it to be more my house color, but I also want it to be cohesive with the rest of the colors in here. So yeah, decisions. But I'll just work around the house for now, get more of the grass and some of the people and the animals down there. And then the house can be kind of a last minute decision as well. All right. January is a big month. I usually start a lot of things in January because, one, I'm not a big fan of starting. I love starting because the excitement, and I love having the new things, but the process of starting, the gathering the floss, putting them on drops, you know, cutting your fabric, serging your fabric, figuring out your margins, where to start. That's all like work that I don't love. So for me to be able to get things started and have them started, then when I want to stitch something, I just grab the bag and start and from where I left off. It's so much more, it's quicker and just ready to jump in and go. It's kind of like a home cooked meal where you're slaving all day versus pizza. Like some days I'd rather take a pizza, like just instead of chopping and cooking and cleaning. Like, so yeah, home meals or fast food. Like I want fast food sometimes, but man, nothing like tasting home cooked meals. So January 1st, my blessing sampler. I was going back and forth on a few things, and I decided last minute, this is what I'm going to pick. And a blessing sampler, if you haven't heard, which I learned is, you start on January 1st and it has to be finished within the month of January. So you have 31 days to get her done. And so you wouldn't want to pick a huge sampler unless that's the only thing you work on and you know you could finish that. But this is just a nice little guy. It's only 111 by 19, 111 by 119. And the fabric I picked is from Weeks Dye Works. I believe it's Mocha, right? Mocha. And the floss is Bing Cherry from Classic Colorworks. So that's the combo I'm going with for the pillow. And this is did I say 46 count? So it's going to be smaller than this. This was worked on 36 count. So the finished size for 36 count is about 6 by 6, 6.2 by 6.6. So it's going to be a lot smaller. And I think, yeah, that red is going to be pretty. I don't know if I have enough because this is used from another project, but I can always grab some more. Or it's very close to DMC 815 or 816. That's the other, like the DMC conversion. So depending on if I feel like ordering more, or because actually Bing is not very variegated for an overdye. There's a little bit, but it's not like a really variegated, so I could even go with a DMC. But yeah, this would be about the same color, but just a beautiful dark burgundy wine color. So that's my blessing sampler that I'm starting. And then I'm also starting in January, Winter on the Square by Scissortail Designs. This is a new designer to me. I haven't done anything with them. Super cute. It's going, the called for is 28 count platinum, and they are small, only 47 by 47. So like just a little over 3-inch pillows. I ended up getting a 32 count of the platinum, and the called for one is the Classic Colorworks blue beadboard, and then the other two are DMC 932 and 931. So there's the 3 blues. Oops, board's falling. On platinum. Going to be just pretty. Like just a beautiful blue wintry pillow. And I love having winter things out for cross stitch because, you know, we decorate so much for Christmas and we have all these things and every table's filled and lights and everything's so like festive. And then you put all your Christmas stuff away and everything, it feels so empty and sparse in your house, and you're just like, no more like fun. So then you pull out these beautiful wintry things and fill your house back up again, and then it's like, yay. Just, yeah, so pretty. I'm planning on just starting the one in the middle, the winter, and if it goes quickly on top of all the other things I have to work on, maybe I end up getting to these two, but if not, these two will wait till next winter. But at least I'll have one started and done. So pretty. So that is a January start. The other January start is February. Oops. So I talked about how the Prairie Schooler months, I will get February started. And for sure, I'll just, the next week or so, I'll get just the border put in. And then once that border boring, like stitch across and down, that's in, then it's like, I feel like, okay, now I can start getting on the meat and potatoes of the design. So that will be started in February. Another new start in February is this winter sampler. And this will definitely be like a year progress because it's big. It's 215 by 315. So it's a good size sampler. But I want to get it started this winter. It's so pretty. I love, is it crochet a go-go? I don't know. Crochet a go-go, or some people say crochet a go-go, but I'm not sure. Everybody has a different, oh, sorry, the glare. There we go. Beautiful, beautiful sampler. I love everything she does. Like so many cute things. I'm putting it on Fox and Rabbit Caramel Mud Cake. It's just a beautiful brown, darker brown. Because there's the whole border, it has white in there with like snowflakes or flowers or berries, and then the house is white, and it's got where the winter writing is in white, and there's snowflakes around. So I wanted the white to really pop off. There is quite a bit of brown. Well, not quite a bit, but there's a fair amount of brown in there's some fox and some owls. The browns are darker. There's one color in here that matches pretty close to this. I think it's, is it this one? One of these. No, it's not that one. Oh, here it is. It's the owl. And he's pretty close, but that's all that this is called for, are the 2 owls. And the owls, it's just the back of his wing, because the front of the owl is white, which will pop. And then even in the back of the wing, it's modeling, so there's a darker color modeled in there. So that's not going to bug me as much as too light of a fabric with white would bug me. So that's the only color that's not going to pop. But because the owl just has a little bit of that, you can see him up there, I think that'll be just fine. And the rest of the browns are all, you know, darker, and, you know, there's rust and dark brown. That's all going to look gorgeous. So that's what I plan on starting for January as well. And this is the 40 count caramel mud cake, which I'm like, oh, this is so beautiful. It's like some of the fabric, as I pet it, nice fabric, that is in your stash that you love the colors and you want to hoard it and not use it, but then the whole reason we have it is to use it. So it's so hard because I'm like, well, maybe I'll find something else to put that on that's not as pretty because I don't want to use the pretty fabric. Well, that's dumb. It always reminds me of, I don't know if it was like a Dear Abby something, where this lady bought all these candles and like beautiful candles or even other candles, but she never burned her candles. Well, then she like stored them 1 year in the attic, and it got so hot in her attic and all the candles melted and ruined anyhow. So she didn't even get to enjoy the beauty of the candle and burn. And because she sat and hoarded them, they all went bad. So yeah, it just reminds me of that. I don't know why that stuck in my head for years or years ago, but yeah, we shouldn't have this as precious because, yeah, you know, the moths can eat it all. Not that I have moths, but I don't know. Okay. So that, oh, I have one more start for January. Ooh, I am ambitious. It is, I showed this chart, I think last Flosstube. I got it from my friend Leah, and there was just something about this chart that was like, I need to start it. And it's so not like, in general, when you think of your style, it's like typically it's like, I'm like, I don't know. Maybe if I was at the store, I probably wouldn't have thought twice about this. But when I looked at it close up, I'm just like, the beauty of, it's called Solitary Skater. And the way it's the, by P. Buckley Moss, she captured her on the ice in her scarf. And it's just this beautiful, like, I just feel like I could be there skating with her, and I want to go ice skating with her. And she's got this little muff, and I always wanted a muff as a kid. And yeah, she's just graceful. So I'm like, I'm going to start that. Why not? And it's on white Aida, and I do not have any white Aida that's going to be big enough. And so I pulled out this piece of, it's just even weave. It's kind of a tan, because I don't even have any white even weave that would be big enough for this. Like, it's not that huge, but like, I think I needed a 16, and all the other stuff I had was like 14. And so the reason it's on white is because this is just at no stitching. You know, the white Aida is what the snow is. So I'm going to have to stitch the white, which is fine. I don't mind stitching white. So it's more work to put on this, but I have it. I want to use it, and I'll just stitch the white snow. And I think it'll look cool too, like the brownish border. And I don't know if I'll finish it as in an oval or how I'll finish it. I don't know, but the brown around the, instead of a white mat, it'll look like brown or tan. And I think it'll just be really pretty. We'll see how it turns out. But the colors are so pretty. Oh no, hold on. My floss ring broke open, so let me put them all on here. It's all DMC, and this chart calls for blended. So I, like, in a perfect world, I would have just put it on like 40 count and called it a day, or 36 count. Well, technically, I guess I could do 36 count with 2 floss, because it's the blended floss, and so I'd need 2. But in general, I don't love doing 2 on 36 because it just sometimes gets so tight. I'll do it, but because this is pretty much full coverage in all the background, I know personally it'll start getting too tight and cluttered with such a dense stitch. So I would have to do it on like 32, and I don't even have any white 32. So, I mean, I'm, don't have it anyhow, but these colors are just gorgeous. Look at the blue and that rust and the cream, and there's some muted like grayish, and oh, it's going to be so pretty. So there's quite a bit of blended in there, which I think I've only done that once on a very small, little tiny bit of hair on one of my my Nora Corbett. So this will be kind of a new thing for me, work with that much blended floss. And yeah, I'm super excited. So this is going to be a start in January, sooner than later. I'll probably start this one before I start the winter sampler. I'm that excited over it. And I don't know why, but I am. There isn't even white. I'll have to get some white on here to make the snow. Unless I change my mind last minute and find some white fabric. But how do I not have white fabric? Other than the biggest one is my SAL. My Let Freedom Ring. You guys, I announced, well, I've been talking about it for a few Flosstubes, but I announced the big reveal and the breakdown of all last Flosstube, and I had an overwhelming amount of people. There are probably, I want to say, at least 30 people that have responded in that they are starting this SAL with me, with us, all of us now. So that is way more than I thought, because this Let Freedom Ring is a big chart, and so it's not like something simple. So to commit to that for a SAL, like, thank you guys for having the gumption and the balls to start this big guy with me. So Let Freedom Ring, I'll take it out of the plastic. It's from Lila's Studio, and I had broke it up into weekly sections. It's going to be 78 weeks. We start January 4th. We end on July 4th, 2026. So 18 months, and I think it was about 78 weeks. So it broke up perfectly into that. I'm starting top left. You can start, I know there's going to be some people that start in the center, some people like the bottom. So wherever you start, the first week will just be a 24 by 40 section. So on your chart, you just count out 24 across, 40 down, and that will be 1 week. So every Saturday I am going to announce the new section, and I'm just going to, go like typewriter, line by line, and that's how I'm going to work it. And so if you want to do it with me every Saturday on Instagram, I will post the next section, and I will post what I've accomplished and all that. I was thinking of a Facebook group. Let me know if you guys would be interested in a Facebook group. I know not everybody is on Facebook, but for people who are, would you want something like that where you could get inspiration, see where others are, stay motivated, post your progress? If not on Instagram, for sure, like tag with the hashtag. The hashtag is Freedom250SAL, S-A-L. So hashtag Freedom250SAL. So 250 was kind of, I think there was some people had it, so I added the SAL to it, which makes sense anyhow to add a SAL. So that's the hashtag. You can tag me with your progress. And then also Deborah from Joyful Stitching is hosting, she's creating a Zoom for us on the 4th of every month, starting February 4th. We'll get together on Zoom and stitch together and chat and get to know each other and show our progress and get caught up or brag that you're ahead. So the 4th will be different every month. So some days it might fall on a weekend, some days it might be during the week, and I'm not sure what time she hasn't set a time. So as we get closer to February, we can narrow down a time, and you guys can just hop on for a little bit. You can come in, you know, on the one day that you can, if you can't make it all the time, but it's there for you guys if you want it, and get some community. And don't be shy. Like, I'm telling you that when I'm the shyest girl. You would not think so because I can come on camera here, but I am extremely shy. Like, I signed up for Jingle Ball and I was too scared to, I went on and bought some stuff and looked at stuff, but I was too scared to join a group and join a room. So I know how intimidating and scary it is to like put yourself out there and to join things like that. But I kick myself because then afterwards everyone's like, oh, I had fun. And then I'm like, oh, I missed out. I wonder what happened. And yeah, I let fear and being shy rob me of that. So don't be a Sheila and be too scared to join our Zoom. We won't bite. We'll just nibble. All right. Any other questions? Let me know. I think I covered it all. And I'm super excited to start it. It's going to be a big one. Means it's always going to probably be right around 500 or under stitches. Like some weeks will be barely anything, you know, like there. So if you want to, like, you know, maybe scoot the next day or next week, you know, and get that done. Like if you know you're going to be busy the following week or something, you could work ahead. You know the layout or whatever. But like when we get to this building down here, which is about the halfway mark, so 9 months from now, September, October, November, December, like when it's busy in the holidays, we're in the thick of it. So you know, if you want to work ahead a little bit or just, yeah, plan accordingly. There's no rules. You don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. Some people like structure and need structure to stay on track. So I will give you that structure, but it's, you know, it's not a rule. It's just fun. Let's have fun. This I'm doing on 40 count vintage country mocha. It's not the called for, but it's what I'm doing mine on. And I cut the fabric like a dummy. I counted and I thought I was giving myself like 2.5 inch margin. Well, I'm barely a 1.5 inch margin. And I'm like, oh man. And so my heart sunk afterwards after I cut it and serged it all. And then I measured it. I'm like, what? How did I did not measure twice before I cut once. And so I sat down and I, you know, counted all the way down just to double check. So I counted each of it like twice. And I do have 1.5 inches, but it's small. I would rather have had a bigger margin. And I had like a 1/2 yard of this. I don't even know why I cut it so small. Like, I don't know. I have no idea what the heck I was thinking. I don't know. And so it calls for mostly all DMC. There are 6 fancy floss. And I did go with the fancy floss, which was interesting because on 123 Stitch, if you add it all to your cart, it says it calls for used brick. But on the chart, it calls for Calico Kitty. So that was kind of a weird discrepancy that I'm like, oh, but I love the color of the used brick. So I bought the used brick, so I'm sticking with the used brick, but I guess the call for is Calico Kitty. And also somebody reached out to me. She had an older chart because I think this came out around 2017. So it's been out for, boy, a while. But on Lila Studio's website, there are some corrections. There's a list of a couple corrections. So if you have an older chart, just double check those corrections on her website. I don't know if her newer charts, she fixed that in the correction because I have an older chart. I don't know how old it is. I didn't look at the date, but I also bought the PDF because I'll probably be working from the PDF mostly in markup to watch my progress and to give you guys a little more stats and stay on track for number wise, make sure we're doing this right. And so I'm sure her PDFs are up to snuff and you don't need the corrections, you know, because I just bought it off her website a few weeks ago. Oh, right now, as of yesterday, I think she was running a sale. So if you are just seeing this and you're like, oh, I've been wanting to do Freedom Ring, that they're on sale on her Etsy shop right now, or at least yesterday, maybe. But I would think that it still is. I should have double checked this morning, but yeah. Any other questions? Email me, message me. Like if you want to get on the Zoom call, you can either email Joyful Stitching. I'll have her email down below, and we just need your email to get you signed up for Zoom. And any other questions you have, just message me, let me know. And yeah, I think, oh, the giveaway. So to like kick off this whole Let Freedom Ring in my very first SAL, I made a project bag. I made one for me. And then, so I was cleaning my room. I've been cleaning my room like weekly and keep cleaning because man, I have so much stuff. I had started 4th of July quilt, and I have about 15 of these quilt blocks. And I'm like, I just don't want to make a quilt anymore. Like from that, I just was like, I'm not going to do it. So I'm like, what am I going to do with these quilt blocks? And I'm like, I'll make them into a project bag. So these were originally 12 by 12. I had to cut them down to fit into a project bag, so it's not so big. I mean, this is even a good size project bag. I think it's 14 by 14. One of the bigger ones. So, and it's kind of a whimsical, wonky star. So not all of them are like the same size, which is fun. So I'm making some more project bags for my shop, but they'll be like, they're kind of like, they're whimsical triangles. You'll see on this one here. So this is the giveaway where, see how it's just like a smaller and bigger, and they're not even, which I love the look of the whimsical star. And so this is the giveaway, as I said, but inside it's just kind of a red, white, and blue geometric design, and the back is blue and white stars. You do not have to be doing my SAL to enter for this. I would like for you to, be a subscriber and give a little thumbs up and use the word freedom if you want to enter in for this bag. And, oh, you have to be 18 because I have to ask for your address to get this mailed out. But that's the only rules, other than the old don't use free, don't, we all know, but there are some people that might be new that don't use any words like giveaway or free, because then you get weird people in just wanting to start trouble. We don't want any troublemakers, do we? All right. So you can look out. I'll be adding some of those bags into my shop if you don't win, but good luck. Like I said, leave the word freedom, and we will see you in a couple weeks. And this coming Saturday is the SAL, so I'll post every Saturday morning, or not every Saturday morning on Instagram in the morning early when I get up, which isn't like the crack of dawn. Well, some days, who knows? I mean, I don't have a normal sleep schedule. Sometimes it's 5 a.m. and sometimes it's 9 a.m. So when I roll out of bed, I will post for Saturday right away. And yeah, I am excited, you guys. All right, have a wonderful New Year's Eve and happy stitching. Bye-bye.